Well, what is going on today, guys? Today I'm going to be showcasing my Arc 3.0 Titan build after the release of Lightfall and the mod 2.0 system. So for our subclass, obviously, because this is an Arc build, we're using Arc. Thunder Crash is just debatably better than Fist of Havoc. Fist of Havoc did get the 20% buff uh, on Lightfall's release, but I still see no reason to run it over Thunder Crash, as Thunder Crash is just the way better super. So for the class ability, we use Thruster, mainly because it has the best cooldown, and it doesn't really have any frames. Like for Barricade, you actually have to place the barricade, which takes time. For Thruster, it's just like an instant move. You do it, you dash left, forward, back, and then you instantly activate Heart of Inmost Light. So obviously jump doesn't matter. I prefer strafe lift. I know a lot of people love catapult. Some people love high lift. Doesn't really matter. The melee also doesn't really matter. I started using Seismic Strike recently. I've also used to use Thunderclap. I think both work out perfectly fine. Ballistic Slam was obviously you were forced to use it back in the day before Arc 3.0. But with the Heart of Inmost Light, I don't think it's just optimal to use it. I mean, you can, but it also has the longest cooldown, I believe. Yeah, it does. And you have to like jump up and then activate it. Then it takes so much time where like the melees, like you just like instantly do them. For nade, you could use Pulse or Storm. Even though Storm is nerfed, it is still the second best nade in even the best nade just to use. I just switching between Pulse and Storm depending on the situation. For aspects, we are using Knockout, so when we critically wound a target or break their shield, our melee attacks become stronger. And basically always, as long as when you have Knockout, all you melees count as a powered melee. So if you kill someone with Knockout, it will also proc Heart of Inmost Light even if you don't use Shoulder Charge. And it also gives us 2 fragment slots. For our second aspect, we're using Touch of Thunder. It just makes our Pulse Grenade and Storm Grenade stronger. Pulse becomes stronger over time and creates Ionic Traces. Storm makes like a thundercloud above the enemy's head, which does massive damage. There's no reason to use Juggernaut, maybe in the Crucible, but this is a PvE build. And I just feel like it's a pretty useless aspect, and I actually just don't see many people use it. For the fragments, we use Spark of Resistance just for that extra resistance when we're near combat. Spark of Shock, you arc grenade jolt enemies. It's just better. It just makes your nades better. Spark of Magnitude, our nades last longer, so there's just more uptime on them and they can do more damage overall. And this last fragment is kind of just up to you. I recently started using Spark of Amplitude just for more orbs of power, but I used to use, which one was it? Spark of Frequency when I got a melee, my reload is faster. You could also use the new one, Spark of Haste. When you're running, you get more recovery and mobility and resilience if you don't have max resilience. But I think the 4th slot is really up to you. I don't think there's one that necessarily gives you the edge. I think they're all good, and it's just whatever your playstyle is. Mods are really what helps negate the nerf to the Heart of Inmost Light. So obviously, on every class you can see Resilience, Discipline. That's just for my build. I think Resilience and Discipline are like the best 2 stats for Arc specifically, and then I would go with Recovery just for like, you know, survivability. So helmet, I only use 1 Ashes assets. I know a lot of people like to use 2, but I like to switch between a Forbearance and a Funnel Web, and I just put both of them on so I don't have to switch the mods constantly every time I'm switching what special weapon I want to use. But you could definitely take one of these out, only run like 1 Siphon, and then use 2 Ashes assets for more super uptime. Grenade Kickstart is, so every time we throw a nade and we have armor charge, depending on how many we get a lot of grenade energy back, and obviously we have 2, so we get even more. When you have 4 armor stacks and you throw a nade, you basically get around 40 to 50% of your grenade back. And then we also have, this is one of the most important mods because it's like the main way you're going to be making orbs, which is your grenade funnel blows create orbs of power. So every time you throw an orb, it's almost guaranteed to get a kill unless you just throwing it like a champion. So you always get an orb and then you pick it up. So for chest piece, we use charged up, which increases the number of stacks of armor charge by 1. So we get have a max of 4. And then you can use anything. I just use sniper resistance. You could use like the other ones, like the other type of resistance, or like an arc reserves or something. But I think the reserves are bugged right now, so that's why I'm just using sniper resistance, because why not? For boots, we're using 2 innervation. So every time we pick up an orb of power, our grenade cooldown, like we get more of it. Combined with this, so we like almost always have a grenade. And then obviously the Heart of Inmost Light. We use a thruster, which also, well, this we use also stacks and stacks. So every time we get an orb of power, we actually get 2. So it only takes us 1 grenade kill, and then 2 either arc or void siphon kills to get another orb of power, so we get max. And then every time we use a class ability, we also get grenade from bomber. So I use just 3 of them. For the weapons, it doesn't really matter. It honestly just depends on what you're doing. For my general just ad clearing setup, just like not doing like high level difficulty stuff, I just like to use Huckleberry, Forbearance, Corrective Measure, because the artifact stuff, Volatile Flow is like the best mod if you're not using void weapons this season. I don't know what you're doing. I think there's no downside to running void weapons, because like Volatile Flow, then you get heavy when you kill things with void weapons. And then your void weapons gain a damage boost like all these. And then this one too. You get an orb of power if you break a void shield. It's not even just a void shield, it's just like any matching shield. But like a lot of things are void shield this season. I don't have it though because I need to reset my artifact, whatever. And then yeah, like obviously, you know, if you're doing high-end content, Izanagi, rocket launcher, linear fusion, sword if you want to like just go through stuff fast, anarchy. Like the 3 good SMGs like Funnel Web, Fatebringer, Blinding Nades, Quicksilver, like anything. Like obviously the weapons don't matter. Just depends on what you're doing and what guns you're comfortable with using. I'm gonna be showing the uptime with the mods. Obviously this is just a regular Lost Sector on Nessus, but obviously like it's just like to show you the flow of how the mods work together. And one thing I forgot to mention is actually obviously if you're doing like a raid boss, and before you want a Thunder Crash, obviously switch to the Falling Star just for the better Thunder Crash damage, because without the Falling Star, Thunder Crash is kind of ass now. I'm not going to lie. But let's just showcase the mods. So you throw the grenade, you get the grenade kill, it spawns an orb of power, you get 2 armor charges. You get 2 void kills, you also get volatile now. You do this, you melee, thruster, you have a nade back up. You throw a nade, already have about halfway. And then you get more orbs of power, pick it up, you get even more. And then nade's already back up. You see how just like you get the nade back so fast. You pick up an orb and gives you a good chunk, get the thruster back. Orb, throw it. And for people who just want to look at the build and not have to watch the video, here it is.